Okay, hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of the TBD College Football Podcast. Myself, Nuvek. I am joined, as always, by my good friend and model Maryland citizen, Dugan. Dugan, how are we doing on this fine Philadelphia evening as I'm doing this satellite style? Dugan, you there?
Sorry, that's the old microphone on mute trick for those listening. A little wild card baseball and then a little excited.
No, yeah, we were just talking about that the Yankees bogarted Indiana Jones and Star Wars theme songs, and I don't like that.
So, hold on. It was like that. Dun, 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 dun.
No, it's like the end credits for Star Wars. It's like where they're getting their ceremony. You know what? Whatever. But
See, I don't like that because whenever I hear New York Yankees, it's an evil empire. It's the Darth Vader music. It's the Death Star music. That's what I'm synonymous with.
No, I agree. But they play the Death Star music or Empire music with the Twins.
I like that. Then they're all messed up.
Yeah, they're backwards, man. I don't like it.
That's like, sorry to interrupt what I'm saying, just getting things backwards. That's the dude, I forget, it was it the Royals game or whatnot, or somebody hit like a go-ahead home run at the top of the 10th, and the home team dude just laid on the fireworks and let them all go. It was awesome. It was so funny. Everyone was like, what's going on? That must be a great job. Do you like fireworks? Come do fireworks for the Kansas City Royals. Just let them go.
You can go full bore.
Oh, yeah, you can.
So yeah, what an interesting week to say nonetheless in college football. We are already through 5 weeks. Kind of crazy to think. But yeah, we learned a lot. Some teams still have some work to do. Some teams are already looking forward to 2018. And, and we'll get to this, but it seems like the college football playoff is getting more settled, as to what teams look like they're really going to make it and what teams, like I said, are just already out of it.
Yeah, I think two teams clearly, like everybody else knows, Clemson, Alabama, see you guys in the Final Four, that's literally don't trip up at all in there and they'll be fine. So I don't see a huge issue in that. It's just kind of what's happening with Oklahoma coming down the Big 12 and with USC out, what's going to be cooking now. So we have kind of two open spots, but I think anybody with a brain will understand that the first two are completely gone.
Yeah, but let's jump right into Week 5, and we'll start off on the Friday's game. Sort of threw off everybody because, Friday is kind of synonymous with not really having any sports on. So to have the late night USC traveling to Washington State, it was what was supposed to be, another good test for a USC team primed to make a run at the college football playoff. And
get out, ball! Let's go. Sorry. Let's go, Brian Dozier. Sorry, I had to, Brad. I'm so sorry.
We'll sprinkle a little football or baseball in there.
Yeah.
But so yeah, USC drops one on the road to number 16 Washington State. Again, a lot of people, some writers out there picking Washington State to have a good squad this year, but again, maybe a year or two away from really having that program that was going to match Washington. But now, we're primed for the showdown against Washington for Washington State, and USC goes down 30-27. Sam Darnold did not look good in this one.
No. This is one of those weird things where a couple things kind of came full circle with understanding that Mike Leach finally has a defense that can stop people, which is always scary because it was never the issue with that before. This Texas Tech team was obviously were just getting shootouts, but now he has a pretty decent defense that can force teams to get off the field, which always helpful. And this is one of those kind of rare times where I think when people started noticing last week, like circling, oh my goodness, Washington State's hosting USC. In years past, that would be like the kind of everybody gets hyped up, and then the first quarter, USC's up 21-0, and then it's just a dead zone. But that was kind of really interesting to see. That was a great freaking game. Unbelievable. I wasn't on Washington State. I'm even more in, especially if that defense can maybe stop you. Probably maybe if they can just get a couple stops, it's anyone's ball game because that offense can put up points pretty quickly.
No, and surprisingly enough, Luke Falk or whatever that guy's name, quarterback for State, threw it 51 times.
That's not. I don't even think that's not that much for his offense.
Yeah, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, not bad.
No.
Not bad at all. Those are NFL stats right there. But
yeah, and this is like just the Sam Arnold that I feel like we've been seeing. It's just like blah. Like he hasn't like really wowed me. I don't know what his deal is, but they gotta figure that out because they go to South Bend in 2 weeks, and that could be a quick 2-loss team, and then there goes your playoff for them, especially given the Pac-12 because they'll have to play Washington again.
No, and it's funny because going into Week 6, you start looking at some of the 4-1 teams out there that look good and look like they might have, righted the ship and look like be going in the right direction here. All the cliches out there. But it'll be interesting to see where Notre Dame is at that time and where USC is at that time. Just, do they come in both at 6-1 or 5-1 or do they pick up a loss sometime in between? But we'll see. We'll see. Again, kind of disappointment. I know a lot of people had USC, pinned into the college football playoff coming out of the Pac-12. So, not looking good so far. A lot of teams rolled. At least, the big timers, Penn State, Hoosier football is dead, unfortunately, again, in 2017. Unfortunately. Washington wins big against Oregon State. Georgia getting off to a real hot start, 5-0 already through 5 weeks. Obviously, in control of things in the SEC East, again, which is, again, underperforming this year, but against Tennessee, 41-0. We thought Georgia would win, but not by that much.
Yeah, dude, that's just, and I was reading earlier, that's such a fantastic hire by Georgia with the Kirby Smart, because somebody was saying after the game, Kirby Smart was with the crowd, like high-fiving students and all that, and people were cheering, and you look at the situation LSU's in with Ed Ogeron, and I think somebody said, could you imagine if Ed Ogeron did that? And the answer is just no, because I don't even think he garners that much respect from his own players. His players have quit. But then just seeing what Kirby Smart's done, and everyone is so infected by him. And he's got everyone believing that defense is flying, the offense is doing well, and that team is just really gelling together.
And this Fraun kid, he's a freshman.
He's a freshman. He's knocked off Jacob Eason. I'm a huge hot hand guy. So I don't mess up this mojo by putting in Jacob Eason. Granted, maybe I don't think you can take him out.
No. I mean, he's managing the game, and it's just kind of like, hey, we'll feed Nick Chubb and don't go lose the game. But Georgia looked really impressive. The interesting side of this is Tennessee dropping to 3-2, and it looks like the Jones era with the Volunteers is coming to a close quickly. To be honest, I'm still surprised he's there.
Yeah, after last year. But then I mean, you were expecting a down year a little bit. I mean, you lose Josh Dotson, you lose Alvin Kamara, you lose a bunch of people. But I don't know what they do in the middle of the season. You might just ride it out because that means it's like a $9 million buyout or something. I don't know what they do. I don't know what their next plan is, but they got to get somebody. I don't even know who the hell would want to go to that job right now. That's just like a losing proposition unless they go to the SEC East and just get pummeled by Alabama. I don't know. I think Georgia was a great pick for Kirby Smart because that was still like at least a 1A to Alabama when I think Tennessee is maybe like a C or a D compared to the Alabama. You know what I mean?
No, and I mean, I'm not even 30 yet, so I can't say, I know.
Bradley, let's go!
I say I've seen too much college football in my lifetime to compare to some, but, I think Georgia and Tennessee are sort of on the same lines when it comes to prestige of college football. And yeah, one program went in one direction and Tennessee in the other. Obviously Kirby coming from Alabama, being their, longtime defensive coordinator, he's going to have that defense in check. And now having Nick Chubb obviously helps. Another, high NFL prospect coming out of the running back position out of Georgia, who's been able to sort of produce them over and over again, and it's been pretty impressive and definitely helps the offensive side of the ball. But the East is wide open now. Florida plays LSU this weekend, and I could care less. It's almost irrelevant. Let's just fast forward. The SEC is irrelevant. Let's just fast forward to the first week in December and play this thing out in Atlanta for the SEC championship.
Dude, that game's going to be sweet.
That game, I think, is going to be sweet. But we shall roll on. Especially roll on, Ohio State.
Question, because I got it farther in there. They only play in the SEC championship, right?
I'm sorry? Yes.
Does the loser get in?
No. I mean, it depends. Like, you gotta...
Yeah,
you gotta ask around. You gotta see what's going on in the other conferences. Because... since the college football playoffs been around, which has been 3 years now, every year it's been 4 teams, 4 separate conferences. So, a disaster in other conferences has to happen, and some pretty special things, especially the way people are bad-mouthing the SEC for the right reasons this year, as being weak. So, to answer your question, I don't think so, but again, it's one of those things where you gotta know what the situation is on other campuses at the time. Speaking of the SEC, the sort of underdog out of the West was supposed to be Mississippi State, winning their first 3 games by considerable margin. And now they've dropped the last 2. They beat the pants off of LSU, and now, getting worked on the road at Auburn. Auburn being a pretty solid team here. Losing a close one at Clemson, and, going to 4-1, 2-0 in the SEC West. They could give Alabama, some trouble, but again, at Auburn Rolls, but Mississippi State being LSU sort of doesn't mean anything anymore because Troy was paid almost $1 million to go to Death Valley at night. At night, one of the hardest places to play, hardest situations to play in, and they beat LSU 24-21. I mean, come on. Is the Ed Orgeron era going to be done this year? Do you think?
So, yeah, probably. Whoever set up that fucking contract to get him a $9 million buyout. Like, I understand that Butch Jones has a $12 million buyout or whatever his number is, but he's done something. Like, what has Ed Ogeron done in the past besides being a really good interim coach done to warrant a $9 million buyout? That's stupid.
No, I don't get some of these contracts too. People just fall in love with the Louisiana man, and
Yeah, like what do you honestly think? However many years of your article of your contract, Ed Ogeron's going to be there for that long? That's just crazy to me. Sorry.
yeah, I didn't agree with the Les Miles the letting go of Les Miles, but I don't agree with it, but I understood it. It was just, a B-plus program in the eyes of the guys pushing the buttons there. And I just didn't, I didn't get it. And then giving Ed the keys to the city, after being an interim, and it's just a weird story. Les Miles couldn't move the football on offense, and that was sort of their grime. Always known for a good defense, but again, never really being able to score touchdowns, score points, put the people in the seats. And then interim Ed comes in, and it's almost like the same problem, like a decent defense, and yet on the offensive side of the ball, everyone just looks lost. So I don't know. The SEC in general is just kind of like a head scratcher, to be honest.
I mean, it's super top heavy. Everyone else outside like 2.5 teams stink.
Yeah. No, I agree. Which gets us to our second to last game of the week. Alabama seems to be firing on all cylinders, winning 66-3 against Ole Miss. It seems that they're got things working a little bit better, moving the ball down the field with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, we knew wasn't going to be a strong program going into this, but we remember that I think like 2 of the last 4 losses for Alabama was against Ole Miss, so at least, Ole Miss had that allure going into this game. And, Ole Miss is always known for their wide receivers being really talented. And they were, sort of on Saturday night, but that defense was just too overwhelming, and the tide rolled home. Again, like I said, just too top heavy in the SEC. But we will get to the final game of the week. Propped up a lot. Clemson was traveling to Blacksburg, Virginia, for what was hoping to be a coming out party for Virginia Tech, and that wasn't the case. Clemson controlled the game throughout most of it. 14 of Virginia Tech 17 points coming in the fourth quarter. Very lopsided game, and sort of boring to watch, to say the least. But Clemson gets it done on the road, and it looks like we got a clear favorite coming out of the ACC if Clemson can keep things not interesting moving forward.
Yeah, that was I remember last week, I think what I told you, it was going to be either really, really close or just a Clemson blowout. And I forget what the final score was, but the score, I think they lost by 14 or something. But they didn't lose by 14. They lost by 28. Pretty sure Clemson had their second string in for a long time. But that's just a pack of grown men. That Clemson defense, that's grown fucking men.
Yeah. Damn right about that. God, that's scary.
Yeah.
It's, the front seven is so almost like Alabama was last year. And, just getting a ton of hype, not letting anyone move the football. And, like we said in the beginning, can we just get to January and have, Alabama and Clemson just slug it out? Because I think that'll be a really good rematch if we can get it again.
Yeah, I'm on for it.
So, I guess we're learning, a lot now just from the playoff, Bama looking to be the favorite out of the ACC, but Georgia can challenge and might. So, and Auburn is sort of halfway there too. Clemson looks to be running the ACC, and again, if they don't fuck it up, that's the way it'll go. Out of the Big Ten, Michigan has not looked as good, but again, still alive as they are undefeated. I'm not willing to write off Ohio State, but they do have two tough games against Michigan and Penn State. Penn State being obviously the other team out of the Big Ten. Dugan, I'm going to let you cover the Big 12 because I think you have a little better beat on this. But who do you think is still alive out there?
So you clearly have Oklahoma, and don't count on Oklahoma State just because they have Bedlam. And if Oklahoma State wins Bedlam, then that will kind of cover up the TCU loss. TCU loss isn't looking too terrible now, or might not look terrible in a little bit, because that's a really good Gary Patterson team that is actually a college game day there this weekend, while West Virginia is going to come visit them. So that'll be a little bit of a little tester for TCU to kind of see if they're legit. But, I mean, it's up to those three teams, really. That's kind of drive what's happening. But with Bedlam coming up, I think it's in early November, that should be a wild ride that I don't think you can count out of Oklahoma State yet.
And what about the Pac-12?
Pac-12. Oh, did you say Big 12 or Pac-12?
No, I said Big 12.
Oh.
But
Pac-12, you're going to have quiet Washington. They are being super sneaky. I haven't heard a thing about them yet.
I agree.
Which worries me. Washington State's awesome. With Mike Leake, you just hope that they don't show up a little hungover the next couple weeks or a little off, but I think he's done an excellent job up there. Oregon's kind of back to Oregon, just scoring a bunch of points and hopefully winning. But they have, luckily, a quarterback who can facilitate that offense. USC, it's going to be, like I was saying earlier, with USC, after this loss, having to go play Notre Dame next week, it's going to be interesting how they handle this week. And I believe they play, I don't know off the top of my head who they play. I want to say it's like Cal, but I'm not sure that's right.
Who'd you say, Oklahoma?
No, USC. Are they playing Cal?
Oh, I don't know. Let me check. Ooh, no, Washington is playing Cal.
Who they play?
Washington is playing Cal. USC is playing Oregon State.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
That's their 1 o'clock game.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of shaping. I mean, there's still obviously week 6. I think the ACC the Pac and Big 12 are inverse of what the ACC and SEC kind of are.
Yeah.
With how we kind of know what's going on there. It's just a lot of ambiguity in the other conferences.
No, I agree. And Alabama coming out of the SEC, still to play what is supposed to be, a tough part of their schedule with LSU, Auburn, Texas A&M, Arkansas, teams that are supposed to, okay, yeah, Alabama's better than all of them, but they still have to win every game, and it's tough to do that. Well, it used to be. In Clemson, it seems like they've played all their tough teams now that Florida State looks like hell. And, and Virginia Tech and Louisville not being really who we thought they might be this year. So, no, I completely agree. And maybe that's just a testament to how tough those other conferences are right now. We usually figure out the Big 12 a little later in the season, but just because we get the conference play going and everybody plays each other, and we sort of get a feel of who was actually legit and who wasn't, with all these wild offenses that they run. And then the USC, in the Pac-12, no one really stays up for those games anyways. So, who knows? Who knows, Dugan?
I don't know, Bradley, but I know we got some decent picks this week.
Yeah, hopefully decent games, and I think.
So I believe you are leading. I think Bradley is 16-11. I think that's right. No, that can't be right. You're up by a couple games.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with a game that, if you look at this game at week 1, and if I give you these two team names, what would you guess back in the early weeks the spread would be? Louisville going to NC State.
We're looking at this game, like week 1. NC State was sort of a dark horse for me coming out of the ACC, and obviously Louisville with Jackson running the ship up there. It's I thought this was actually going to be a close game. Maybe Louisville favored by 10, but something tells me that it's a close game this time. Maybe 3, 4 points, 5 points,
3.5.
3.5.
So Louisville favored 3.5. Who you got?
I'm going with Louisville to cover the 3.5. And I'm going with my instincts this time. I think Louisville goes in there and runs up the score.
I am going to go NC State.
Taking the points.
I don't know why. It seems like a really bad move, but I'm just going to do it.
It's a night game.
It is a night game. So next we have LSU going to Florida. 3.5-point favorites of the Gators.
3.5 points.
Or three. 3-point favorites.
Oh my God. I think Florida stomps them by more than 10, so I'll eat the points.
Okay, I'm going to take LSU just because I don't think that they can get any after Troy does that. I don't think there's anything else, and I think Florida's quarterback Jack Del Rio's son is out, so I'm going to take LSU and the 3 points.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Damn it.
So next we got College Game Day. West Virginia going to Fort Worth, Texas to play the Horned Frogs.
Ooh. The Mountaineers.
13.5.
13.5. Man. A game I know
points.
very little about. A lot of points. Yeah. Oh, man. I think TCU gets fired up and blows them out. So I'll eat the points. All those points. I've been eating points this week.
Yeah, Brad, I'm in the same boat. I think that TCU, and I really think Gary Patterson does not let his teams get to its head. Luckily, that game day there, he'll have them ready to play. I'm going with that.
All right.
Next, we have the battle of Big Brother, Little Brother. Michigan State going to Ann Arbor. 10-point favorites, the Wolverines, with a new quarterback, O'Korn. Getting the start. I know he's played the last game, but I think he's now the full-time starter as of yesterday or a couple days ago moving forward.
And yeah, Michigan's just coming off that bye week. Man, I really think Michigan can blow this. So, I think it's a close game. Michigan wins by 7. So, give me Michigan State in the points.
Brad, Michigan State. I'm going to go Michigan.
All right.
Because, I think the defense is too good, and I'm just not too sold on that Michigan State offense.
No, I'm not either, but my pick's going off of looking at Michigan and sort of giving every team they've played a chance to win at some point in the game, and now that they sort of started conference play, I don't think they're going to get away with it every game. So I'll
Brad, what is your super dog of the week?
Super dog of the week.
I have 3 games written down. I bet you're on one of them.
Wake Forest Clemson?
Maybe.
Well, that's mine because Clemson day game against a 4-1 Wake Forest team. This has got NC State of last year written all over it.
So Brad's going to take Wake Forest?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of my 2 games. My other game is Auburn, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is going to be a beaten dog for everybody, Brad. I'm going to go Auburn. 21, minus 21. And I got 21.5 for you, just to give you a heads up.
Wow. Yeah. I think in that game...
That is... I don't believe it's a night game. It might be a 3:30 game. I will check. It is a Saturday. Wake Forest is noon.
Yeah.
It is a... Can't find it yet, Patrick. Dummy. It's
always the game you're...
Noon.
Wow. All right.
Noon at Auburn, too.
Duke, how do you feel about these Terps going to the Horseshoe?
Oh, I think they're not going to win. They've lost, like, I think my dad was telling me, like, in the past 4 years or 3 years, they've lost, like, 8 starting quarterbacks to season-ending injury, which is crazy when you think about it. Just nobody, like, I think, was it 2 years ago? Their 4th-string quarterback was also their middle linebacker. I swear to God, it was wild. It was a wild ride. He had, like, a number in the 50s and had, like, a neck roll on and was playing quarterback.
That's pretty nuts.
But sidebar, I do think DJ Durkin gets hired out of there really soon with what he's done with that program.
That'll be interesting to see.
He's been recruiting very well, and he seems to have a very Jim Harbaugh'ian kind of game plan with very stout defenses, very athletic, and being able to run the ball and kind of the intermittent passing game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other key or interesting lines? You know, Alabama's going to College Station for a night game.
That's an interesting one. That's a shit ton of points for Alabama.
I mean, they just win 66-3.
No, yeah, but I mean, a 4-1 home dog. I would bet that Texas A&M game. I love the home dogs.
Love the home dogs. Wow. It is a pretty big deficit. And going through, you know, I think there are a little bit more interesting games this week. You know, Notre Dame's getting a little cupcake on the road against North Carolina.
That's what happens when you join a fucking conference. They make you do this bullshit. They might as well. No, I don't want them to join the ACC full time. So I was gonna say, shit. If you play these bullshit games, you might as well get a conference championship out of it. You know.
Well, but your road ends at Clemson.
Hey, I'll take my chances.
Well, sometimes you'll get what you wish for. Although, I'll give this.
Nothing.
Notre Dame does have a rotating schedule, every couple of years of playing really good programs. USC,
they played
Stanford. So, to name a few. So, I give it to Notre Dame that, these schedules get made years in advance, and you never know what the climate's going to be like. Notre Dame 4 or 5 years ago was in the college football championship. So it's it's tough to say where these programs are going to be at when you schedule these out. So I'm not going to shove Notre Dame here. The state of Florida is up for grabs, it seems, as Miami travels to Florida State. Florida State might be 1-3.
Nasty.
Yeah, and Miami 4-0. As Mark Richt sort of, it starts off on a good foot here, but that was the case last year during his first season, and we'll see if the U can come back. They've been wearing some nasty chains on defense down there.
Dude, those chains are sweet.
Those are pretty outrageous. And it's always fun to have the U back, styling, profiling, all that good stuff.
I agree.
I agree. But other than that, just kind of casual. Hockey starts tomorrow.
It does.
And Ottawa is getting a visitor in the Washington Capitals come Thursday.
I know. That's me. I'm a little excited for that.
A little bit excited. I unfortunately have kickball, so I will miss most of the game. if not all of it.
I lucked out and got a 6:20 kickball game, so we'll be at the bar by like 7:30 for puck drop. Puck drop 7 or 7:30.
7:30.
7. Oh boy, I'll have my little Sens pullover. We'll be all right.
That's my Sens pullover. All right, and then we got USA Soccer on Friday. So,
must win on Friday.
A lot of good sports. Obviously, we're watching baseball right now, so
Bradley,
it's a good time. As always, Dugan, it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good time in Philly.
Yeah, I'm ready to get out of here.
Take care, bud.
All right, man.